Hey you guys, and welcome to another segment of Curating Your Personal Library. I'm Hunter, and this is my channel, Shelf by Shelf. I'm gonna figure out the intro soon, I promise. I'm not good at the intro thing yet. But I had a lot of people ask. I have a notepad just so I can remember what I was gonna say. I had a lot of people ask about how I curate my personal library, and I guess like I was trying to be universal, but I guess that this is like for this segment it'll work for like if you're interested in how if you want to curate a library similar to how I curate mine. I read a lot of literary fiction, which you don't have to read, like, there's tons of great books that aren't classified as literary fiction. That's just the genre, I guess, that I enjoy. And it doesn't make those books any better or worse than other books. That's just the genre they're called. But my favorite thing to do is to guess what books are gonna win the big awards each year. Mostly like the Pulitzer, the Man Booker, and the National Book Award. But the two that I really am constantly trying to predict are the Pulitzer and the National Book Award. I accidentally predicted all the books on the Man Booker with Lincoln and the Bardo when that won. Didn't mean to though, but that was fun. But the way that I do that is for instance, when I'm planning on what books to buy each year, I don't know if this will be helpful for you, but I either go to my local bookstore and I get feedback from them, because the owner of my local bookstore, she reads pretty much what I read, and she has great taste, so half the books that she recommends ends up being at least a finalist or something. I go on Kirkus reviews, and I love Kirkus reviews, except for when they gave Blonde by Joyce Carol Oates a scathing review, and I felt personally attacked and offended because I love Blonde by Joyce Carol Oates. That's not relevant to this, but I love most of their reviews, and if they have a starred review, a lot of the books that they give a starred review to end up winning or being a finalist for big awards. And then the millions most anticipated books each year, that's kind of how I write down all the books that are on those lists, and then they put the great big half and the second big half, and then they do monthly. And I choose which books I'm gonna read through there. And that's always really fun. I bought I knew that All the Light We Cannot See was gonna be one, but I actually didn't have a lot of interest in this when it first came out. I know it's awful because everyone loves it. I still I read half of it and then I put it down because it wasn't the right time. But yeah, Pulitzer Prize winning story. I just think it's great to own award winners, just because a lot of times it tells you a lot about what was going on in the world at the time as to why it spoke to so many people that it won the award, because as much as we may not want to we want to think that it's standing on its own technical merit, books win awards a lot of the time partly because of how they kind of speak to society at the time, so that's fun. So yeah, I literally just have a big stack of books that are Wolf Hall won the Man Booker. And I think the sequel won another Man Booker. But so that's fun. Lauren Groff, I'm just gonna mention her every time because I just want you all to read her if you haven't. But yeah, she was this book and Florida have both been National Book Award finalists. And I think that even then, even if it doesn't win, if it's just a finalist, I think it's always fun to see which books were finalists. I don't always love everyone on the list, but anyway, so yeah, so I like to collect the Pulitzer, National Book Award, and Man Booker finalists and winners, and I like to I like to predict them. I also think that for me, I try to read everything. I love to read plays and poetry collections too, if that's something you're interested in. I love Tennessee Williams. I wish I had that. I think it was a biography that came out. Anyway, that's relevant. But and then I also I like to read a lot of. I don't love nonfiction, but I like to try to love nonfiction. But I think a really great thing is that if you're a writer, you should get a lot of books about writing, nonfiction books about writing. Or if you like the ocean, then you should get a lot of oceanography books. And if you like politics, you should get Hillary Clinton's What Happened, or that book 5 Presidents that's about this security guard, I think, who I read this a while back. My friend gifted it to me. So good. But there's all kind of stuff. If you like history, you should just get nonfiction history books. So yeah, it's what you like, but also I think that I don't know, I just think that we should really take what we like, the subject matter that interests us, and examine that and ask ourselves like, well, you know, like, I'm interested in this, so let me like invest and get more of this. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so I think that getting, I like to get award winners. And I think it's great to own beach reads that are like, and I don't want to use the term beach read, because I feel like that's like, we look at that as demeaning. Like lighter reads, I guess, more commercial, and when I say commercial, I don't mean that it's like lesser than, I just mean that it's like sometimes maybe more accessible to general readership. I think there's a lot of books that kind of bridge that gap between literary and commercial. But you know, like, I think that if you find one that you know, you're like, I'm not gonna lie, there are some books that like, I love reading them, and I know that they're like not like the best book, but like they're fun, and I feel like if it brings you joy, then you should like read it as many times as you want, and you should buy a book if you think you're probably gonna reread it. Like Emma Straub, I'll probably read Modern Lovers again because I loved Modern Lovers. But you know, I just think that you should like, you know, do that. Yeah. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought for a second. My brain's been all over the place, but I figured I'd just, you know, I hope this was helpful. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get better at this soon. But yeah, that's mostly how I choose my, most of my books is through Kirkus and The Millions. So that's, and then my local bookstore's recommendations. And you know, and also like Instagram now is such, like Bookstagram is such a great way to like look and see what's, you know, what's popular. Because I mean, if everyone's reading it, like, it's probably fun to read, even if it's not like, not all books are gonna add like a lot of like they're not gonna add a lot to your argumentative arsenal, I guess. You know, like, you're not gonna be able to like here's the receipts to like my point through, you know, I don't know, I haven't read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but like, I don't know if I don't think it's probably the most, it's not a book like, you know, why we don't talk about race, is that one? But you know, and I think you should get books like that too. I think you should also have a lot of diverse reads, because like, you should be reading books that I'm mostly talking to white people. Like, you should read books that are by non-white people, because like, you need to know what's going on, and you need to make yourself aware, and you need to listen to other people's stories. And I'm not saying this to like attack anyone. I'm just saying that like we gotta like wake up, and we gotta like hear what people have to say, and we have to respect it, and we have to like, you know, understand that like we're not always gonna like when people are right about our flaws. Like no one likes when people are right about your flaws. But like, I think it's important to hear people's stories and stuff. So you know, I don't know. That's the thoughts I have. I hope this was helpful today, and I'll figure out a new part of this later. Okay, over now.